back to my art table. In this segment, I am going to teach you and give you a quick run through of some mediums that are commonly used with acrylic painting. Now, this is by no means a comprehensive assessment of all the mediums available. There are many, but I'm going to go through some of the ones that I use most particularly and some that are the most common. So one that I use is an extra heavy gel molding paste, and this is going to give you a beautiful raised finish to your painting. It's going to be somewhat flexible, whereas some other molding gels and modeling pastes are not flexible, and if you try to roll your painting or if you work on unstretched canvas, it's going to crack. I do find this is a little more flexible. It dries semi-clear, and this is something that is going to give you a beautiful texture for your painting. So the next one again is a modeling paste. I use this quite a lot in my tutorials. This one will crack. I have seen it crack on my own paintings. So if you work on a stretched canvas, you'll be fine. If you want to work on a raw canvas or roll your canvas, this one has cracked on me. But it is an inexpensive choice, especially if you're working on stretched canvas. It's a great choice for building up texture in your paintings. This is a molding paste, again, golden. This is going to be a semi-opaque and gives you a nice medium texture. So whereas this gives you your extra heavy texture, this is going to be a little less body than that, but you're still going to be able to get a beautiful texture. This is a gloss medium. This is something completely different. This is a gel medium and a gloss medium. These are both going to give you a more glossy look. Anytime you see the word gel, you're going to have a little bit more of a glossy look than an opaque look. This gloss medium is wonderful to mix with acrylics if you want a very glossy look to your painting. And it also gives you a little bit of texture. Not as much as one of these, but a little bit of texture to your paint. So this again is the gel medium. This is something that Golden also have, the other brands all have these same types of things. These are just the ones that I have. This is going to give you a nice sort of semi-gloss look to your paint, and it's going to let you build up just a little bit of texture in your paint as well. So if you wanted to build up like a glossy impasto effect or something, you could use those last two I discussed. Again, we're going to talk about the acrylic flow release. Now, if you want to increase the working time of your acrylics, this is a great product for that. This is going to let you have a lot more blending time. The acrylics will not dry quite as quickly, and this is going to improve your wetting and staining effects of your acrylics. So if you want to create like a high flow acrylic or something like that, this is something that's going to make you take a medium body or heavy body acrylic, add some of this, and you're going to get a very washy type of acrylic. Now the retarder is, I said this would increase the working time with your acrylics a little bit. This one is, the retarder is something if you really want to have a long working time. Sometimes I work on a painting where I want to put the paint down and do a lot of blending and have a lot of time before it starts getting dry and tacky. And instead of, continually adding water or anything, which you do continue to mist a little bit, you're going to want to use a retarder, and you can mix this right with your paint. You can put a coat of this down on your canvas before you apply your paint, and this is going to give you a beautiful, nice working time. It retards the drying time is what it's referring to. So this is going to make your paint a little bit more like working with an oil. This is a GAC 500. This is going to also extend the fluid time of acrylics. and or extend the fluid acrylics, which means it's going to thin them out. It's going to give you a beautiful finish. It's going to give you something that is like working with water, but it's not going to break down the pigment, and it's going to also give you a beautiful finish to your painting. The GAC 100 is a multi-purpose acrylic. This is something I use a lot with my heavy body acrylics or medium body acrylics, and if I want to create something that's a high flow or a fluid acrylic, especially something very washy, this is wonderful to break down the pigments without breaking down the paint. So what this will do, if you mix this with a really thick paint and you mix it up really well, it creates a beautiful flowing acrylic. So this is something I always have on hand. Again, we're going to talk about my glazes. I always use glazes if you watch my tutorials. This is a gloss glaze. This is a satin glaze. I often mix them together. I like to create sort of a satin effect, not a matte effect, and I like to have just a hint of gloss to it. I find it catches the light on the paintings and gives a beautiful finish. This, you would have to apply a lot of coats to get a really glossy look. This is not going to give you a high gloss look. It's a little bit glossier than, say, the satin finish, which I find is far more matte. So that's the reason I mix them together. If you want a very glossy look to your painting, you're going to want to go back to the gloss medium like this and mix that with your paint, or you're going to want to give your paintings a finish with a high gloss acrylic varnish, and that's going to give that really glossy look. It's not going to be like a resin, that's a whole nother ball game, but it is going to give you a nice glossy look if you don't want a matte finish to your painting. If you are okay with working with a semi-matte finish, which I find is perfect for a lot of the type of art that I do, then these glazes are great. These are great for also breaking down the pigments. So if you want to create a nice glaze with your GAC 100, I would break down the pigments first with this, make it a very flowy acrylic, then add my glazes, and then you're going to get an incredibly washy effect for your acrylics, and then you can definitely build up from that with color. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an overview of many different types of mediums for beginning. Again, there are many, many more, but that is just a beginning on working with acrylic mediums. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to get in on my entire mini masterclass tutorial series at 101artist.com.